This video was made possible with NordVPN. Sign up now with 75% off if you use the discount code AnimeBallsDeep. You know how you go onto Netflix or Amazon or any streaming service and a certain anime isn't available for you, or even movies and TV shows, and you get pissed off? Well, just change your VPN country to the one you want and you can watch all the anime you want across the world. And yes, it's legal, I checked the terms of service. Just try it out if you want, it's only $3 a month.
We know it's been a hell of a long time since any of us have been refreshed of the beginning of Fairy Tail. So before we step any further into dissecting this relationship, let's first have a mini refresher course. First of all, we'll explain Jallal's mysterious past. Although Hiro Mashima, the creator of Fairy Tail, hasn't really clarified the stance of Jallal's upbringing, we do understand he was brought up as a slave ever since he was a child. The reasoning was so that the Tower of Heaven could be built, as he worked alongside Erza and other allies he made during his time there. Jellal was the leader amongst the slave group, always preaching freedom, taking care of them and just being a positive figure so that no one else loses hope during these stressful times. Anyways, with agony, there always comes a coup, as Jellal leads Erza and the slaves to retaliate against the people, forcing them to build the Tower of Heaven. Erza, in her early years as a slave working alongside Jellal, she was always fond of him, looking up to him in admiration, so I guess you could say she always had that soft spot for him. But with the turn of events during the coup, Jellal was possessed to what he believed was the spirit of Zeref, but in fact was Altair controlling him, causing his whole persona to change and to take lead towards finishing the Tower of Heaven. Upon all of this scrutiny, a lot of the slaves were sacrificed, thus making Jellal push all the blame to Erza as he exiled her and forced the slave to work another 8 more years to finish this tower. Just a little context on the Tower of Heaven is that when Jellal was possessed, he believed that upon finishing this tower, it would resurrect the Dark Lord, also known as Zeref. As you guys just witnessed, Jellal is famous for giving Erza her second name, which is Scarlet, thus creating Erza Scarlet. This is a deep bond between both of them since childhood, which is one of the main reasons why Erza feels warm and soft around him even when she reminisces of her slave days. Regardless of the sacrifice made during the revolution of the Tower of Heaven, she can only see the good side when it comes to remembering Jellal. The first time Erza encountered Jellal after a very long time was during the Lullaby Ark. However, Jellal was able to deceive everyone, including the Magic Council, by implanting a thought projection of himself, a sort of clone, and was able to infiltrate them by claiming his thought projection was the twin brother of Jellal, Fernandes, who used the pen name of Tigraine. Now by doing this, it allowed Jellal to work on the Tower of Heaven freely without any restriction. Erza then met Tigraine, the thought projection of Jellal, as he warned her and expected her not to ruin his plans, in which he complied to. Now that we have refreshed our minds on the backstory behind Erza and Jellal, let's move on to the Tower of Heaven and the Oracion Size arc. I probably butchered that, so please forgive me. Where these two major arcs didn't just have a massive impact on their relationship, but had a serious impact on the series in general. Well, in the Tower of Heaven arc, we got to see quite a bit of development when it came to the intriguing love life and backstory of Erza, especially when we all got to see what her dominant and powerful side is during the first few episodes of the Fairy Tail series. This gentle side to her was indeed a big difference. It also allowed Hiro Mashima the flexibility to extend Erza's motives, as now she can fight for her love rather than just to get more powerful. Now this mission Erza, Lucy, Natsu and Grey entailed was actually to a resort. However, Erza's childhood friends Shoal, Wally, Miliana and Simon arrives with the intention to take back Erza to the Tower of Heaven under the orders of Jellal. This then leads to the famous supposed Erza's death scene. I'll be honest with you guys, Hiro Mashima really got me here because I genuinely believe she would be axed off as a character development in Natsu.
Erza Scarlet touched many lives in this world. With a heart as huge and boundless as the sky above, she moved with the grace of a fluttering fairy, and her exquisite beauty rivaled that of Mother Nature herself. It's a painful reminder that love can give you strength, but losing love can render you powerless. We'll miss her.
But either way, I'm happy that she survived. And although Erza seemed to be dead, the ability of plot armor is a scary thing, as she overcame the lacrima set by Jellal and managing him to get back to his senses and his true self. Like she is like a real true Mary Sue. The Orosion CS arc was also an eye-opener for Jellal, as he deceived the Magic Council and enslaved many people for the past 8 years just to resurrect Zereth. Like damn. However, with all of that, Jellal's full memory wasn't recovered as of yet, and then Erza asks him what he would do then, and as a man of justice, Jellal decides to turn himself in, leading to his imprisonment. Like why Jellal, why you have yourself in? But he's a good guy I guess, leaving us with this historical scene.
Scarlet, お前の髪の色のことだ。これなら絶対忘れない。
I'm crying with Erza as I'm watching this. It's so sad. Okay, now we're on towards the sauciest, juiciest arc regarding the development of this relationship. In fact, Jerza were the first ones to have their relationship openly shown to us viewers, letting us know that Hiro Mashima wasn't playing around. He intended to long this couple out and make them official at some point. The Grand Magic Games arc is probably one of the longest and game-changing arcs introduced into Fairy Tail, due to the fact that there was a 7 years time skip and having the guild fight against overpowered opponents. And just before the success of Fairy Tales in the Grand Magic Games, Erza and Jellal have yet another historical encounter, as Jellal wants to speak to her privately, and you guys know what that means. I know what you guys are thinking, but that's not it. Nonetheless, we did get to see a saucy moment between the pair as they both discussed Jellal regaining his memories and him wanting to repent for his past sins. He even went to the extreme and told her he wouldn't mind if she killed him, but that's not Erza's style. But one thing that Jellal did get was a slap from the hand of God. Yeah boy! Yep, it provided us Jerza shipper with the best scene in Fairy Tail history. Like, it couldn't get any more shouju than that. This was god tier cliche anime romance right here. Imagine if that kind of scenario happened in real life. It would just leave them with a heavy concussion and blood flowing everywhere. Jokes aside though, this was really a sentimental moment between the two, and it's probably why we admire them so much and all, because of the chemistry in this scene. And another thing, Hiro Mashima practically told us that he wanted these two together forever, but due to the crime Jellal did in his past, he informed Erza that he had a so-called fiancé so that she wouldn't get involved with him and protect her. Which makes sense as Jellal is a walking target wherever he's seen. I don't think he'd be able to live a life of peace so suddenly after what he had done. Now thinking about it, the lineup for the second team of Fairy Tail consisted of an ironic bunch, with the likes of Gajeel, Mira Jane, Luxus, Juvia and Mr. Gon. Yeah, you heard that right, Mr. Gon. It's basically Jellal disguised as a mysterious person. It kinda makes you wonder whether he disguised himself and joined Fairy Tail for the sole purpose to protect Erza. But who are kidding, we all know that Erza don't need protecting. Anyways, let's move to the next arc. As you guys can tell, Hiro Mashima didn't really put his full focus on Jerza because he developed them so early on in the series. Thus, when there isn't much fan service including the two, except for OVAs, you know, he just went all out on them. But right now, we're going to be invading manga territories, so if you guys are just avid anime watchers only, then I suggest you to get out of here. No, but actually I'm just kidding, don't go anywhere for this video's attention, and smash that like button, subscribe and comment how much you love our content. Anyway guys, in the Alvarez to Empire arc, we are yet again exposed to some juicy content, whilst Jellal saves Erza in a situation where it was either him or her. And if you guys remember, this is quite similar to what we discussed in our previous video of Grey and Juvia, as they also sacrificed themselves for each other. Due to that, aboard Nine Hearts ship, Erza was left no choice but to battle him as he caused Jellal to save Erza and fall into the ocean with Kagura. Erza was clearly overpowered in this fight, and by the time Jellal and Kagura managed to get back, Erza then collapsed because of the wounds Nineheart enforced on her. To Jallal's dismay, he goes absolute batshit crazy, giving Nineheart a full death stare. Erza then wakes up to see Jellal defeat Nineheart. Now that is one badass moment. We really didn't get to see much of Jallal's power throughout Fairy Tail, so this was a shock to both Erza and Kagura. Now moving on to Jallal's interrogation from the Spriggan 12, they asked him why he turned on Zeref, and his answer was, "A brilliant light illuminated his darkness," and a picture of Erza going through his mind, as this identifies the much love he has for her. Jallal's only motive at this point was to protect Erza at all costs. Hiro Mashima basically here is telling us that this ship is 100% confirmed. The climax of this arc and the relationship had come when Jellal fought off Acnologia, somehow managing to ride upon the Black Dragon so that his allied guild can just ram him into the time lapse. Successfully doing so, Erza later places Jellal on her lap after the two gets to shore with Wendy and the other Blue Pegasus mages. Erza smiles at Jellal and tells him to treasure his life. Exactly 1 year later, Jellal is then excused by the Queen of Fiore of his past doings, but the relationship between Erza and Jellal is still unclear, although Lucy notes that Erza since then has been brushing her hair daily, which she didn't do at all before, which can only mean one thing. The last arc I want to talk about is the 100 Years Quest arc. In this arc, it became very clear that Erza and Jellal are officially a couple in the series, but they're very shy about their feelings, as during a moment in this arc when Jellal is shown visiting the Saber-Tooth Guild, Jellal is then shown to us being teased by Minerva for being unfaithful to Erza, which he then quickly denies of having any sort of relationship of that kind. And in Erza's side of things, while she is having a bout with Karia, the 5th generation Dragon Slayer, when confronted about her feelings for Jellal, to focus on the battle, Erza tries to mentally convince herself that she isn't attracted to Jellal. However, whilst doing so, she can't stop blushing. So even then, both of them hide their feelings for each other. Since then, Hiro Mashima has done quite a few sketches on Erza and Jellal, but until we get a continuation of the Fairy Tail series, we don't have a definite answer yet if they'll end up together or not. Well, more than likely they will, let's be honest there. The whole Jerza ship is quite discreet and behind closed doors if you ask me. I think there are a couple that want a lot of privacy and just want it to be between the two of them. But anyway guys, I hope you all enjoyed this video regarding the love between Erza and Jellal. If you guys like this, then make sure to comment who should we do next, which love life you want to know about. And as always, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe for more content like this, follow us on our social media platforms. Until then, we'll catch you in the next one.